Hi everybody, thanks for pressing play on the video today. It's Caroline here from craftycarolinecreates.com. Today's project is a relatively quick and simple one for you. It is a very cute little triangular gift box. Very easy to make, but I think they just look really pretty. Quite a good size, so you can get lots of goodies inside. Let me just open it and show you. There we go, inside lots of space to fill up with some lovely goodies. Very simple to make. So let me show you how we made it. We're going to start with a piece of DSP. This comes from my current favourite, which is the Warm and Cheer Designer Series paper stack, which has lots and lots of Christmas patterns and lots of autumnal ones. You can see it is well used at the moment. So I've picked this one out, which is a nice plaid. The example that I showed you was these lovely stars. So this is garden green, I think basic black, and a little bit of delightful Dijon to make that lovely plaid. And we're going to make this without even needing to use a scoreboard. I told you it was pretty quick and simple. So first thing we need to do is just fold it in half along the long side. And you want to make that a nice sharp crease, so make sure your bone folder is there. And look how beautifully this paper folds. It really doesn't crack at all. Then we are going to fold it gently in half the other way, and we're not going to make this a big crease. We're just going to put a little crease in at both ends. Okay, just a tiny, just use your thumbnail just to crease over the end slightly. And then what we need to do on each corner is fold from our little thumbnail crease we made to our sharp crease. Okay, so just fold those over and use your bone folder to make that a sharp crease as well. Okay, so do that on 4 sides. Okay, that's 2. Three, and 4. Okay, very simple. Now you can see how that then very quickly folds up to be our little pouch. So what we're going to do is we are firstly going to stick these ends together. So these, what are the sort of the longer ends, and the way we are going to do that is just a tiny bit of fuse. And I'm just going to run this fuse along the edge of my paper, but I'm going to do it so that majority of the fuse goes onto my grid paper. So I'm getting just a tiny, like literally a millimetre of fuse along the side. And then I can just bring these 2 sides together and overlap them ever so slightly at the top and stick that down. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. So I just want my fuse, if I can get that so you can see it, very slightly on the edge of my my designer series paper. Okay, that was a bit too close to the edge. It hasn't got any on, so very close to the edge. So you're literally just getting it along the top edge there. Okay, and fold those together. Okay, then to close it up we are going to bring in our hole punch. This is my handheld watch because your paper is going to be a bit sticky now. Let's flip that over so we don't stick to it. Okay, so I've got my hole punch. This is the 1/8 of an inch hole punch. I'm just going to punch in, and you can get this centrally by just using that seam that we've created and going probably about 1/4 of an inch down, just like that. And again on the other side, exactly the same. Okay, and then I'm going to seal that together using what I had out a minute ago. I'm not being very prepared at the moment for videos. Here it is. I put my designer series paper stack on top of it. This is the Cherry Cobbler silky taffeta ribbon, which I just seem to be reaching for all of the time now. It's a really lovely Christmas ribbon. Comes in a pack with some Emerald Envy, but the Cherry Cobbler one just seems to be the one that I'm using constantly at the moment. So So I'm just going to thread that. So just cut that to a point, the ribbon, and I'm just going to thread that through the 2 holes. Obviously this is the point where you would fill it up with whatever goodies you want to pop in there. Okay, and then there's just a nice alternative to like maybe a sour cream container. They're sort of a similar sort of look, but just a little bit different. And then I'm just going to tie that off. You can do a bow. I'm not very good with bows on camera, so I'm just going to do a flat knot. Okay, voila. I'm going to trim off those edges. That's 1, 2, okay. And then we just need to decorate it. This one, I'm going to decorate it pretty much exactly the same way as I did here. And that's using some stamps from the Merriest Wishes stamp set. So I've mounted these 2 baubles. I'm going to use a slightly different colourway. I'm going to use Cherry Cobbler and some Delightful Dijon to pick out the Delightful Dijon in the plaid. So we're going to start with the smaller bauble, which is this one here, in Delightful Dijon. So stamp that down. There we go. And close that up. And then Cherry Cobbler for the larger starburst one, but we're going to cover it up so we're only going to see the lovely dotty outline. Okay, there we go. Oh, didn't stamp perfectly, so I'm going to do it again. There we go, that's better. And then we're going to cut these out using the matching framelits, and that is the Merry Tag framelit dies. Let me show you these. These are just beautiful. I have got another project that I will be sharing with you very soon, which is a set of tags made using these dies and a matching box. So you will get to see them in a little bit more detail soon. For the time being, I'm just going to pop off these 2 dies, which are going to pop these out perfectly for me. So let's bring in the big shot. Can you see that? So I've just loaded this up with my magnetic platform, which is going to make cutting these out really straightforward. So I'm just going to pop the larger one around our Cherry Cobbler circle, and the magnetic platform just makes sure that they will stay nicely in place. And then this one is going to go around my yellow circle, and just make sure you line it up because this one does have a lovely little hanger. So you just want to make sure that that goes to the top plate on. And then we are going through. I like to go all the way through and then come all of the way back. Okay. And we can pop those off. I'll just move the big shot out of the way. 1 and 2. Okay. And what we're going to do is just the sentiment is also going to come from this set, the Merry Wishes set, so this Glad Tidings. So I'm going to use a scrap of Whisper White again. I think this is which is the straight edge? That's a straight edge. So I'm just going to ink that up. Just going to check I have it the right way around on my grid paper. I do. So I'm just going to stamp that down here. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut that out by hand. Just using these scissors to get a nice straight edge on the top. Maybe a little bit lower down. Let's try. You can always use your trimmer if you want to get this really perfect, but these scissors help me do that anyway. And then I'm just going to flag the end, again just by hand and by eye. You can get this perfect of course if you use a punch or use your trimmer, but I think that's good enough. Okay, and then we're just going to build this up with dimensional. So we're going to pop this, oh if I can pick it up, I've got no nails at the moment, they're in a real state. I need somebody to look after a little boy for a few hours so I can go and have a nice manicure. That would be bliss, wouldn't it? Okay, don't think about that, Caroline. So stick that down on a dimensional onto the red circle. Then my yellow bauble is going to go on top. Just like a bit off to the centre. Straighten that out a bit more. There we go. Push that out. Okay. and then 2 dimensionals on the back of here. Bring in my box, and we can just position that something like that. And there we go, a really cute alternative to a sour cream carton, a really cute little triangular gift treat box. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions or you'd like to buy any Stampin' Up products, do not hesitate to get in touch. Pop over to my blog, craftycarolinecreates.com. Thanks a lot, bye bye.